Alrighty then, everyone. It is Dokkan time again, and today we are going to be going through the how-to build for the new LR Perfect Duo Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla plus Super Saiyan 2 Kale. I'm just going to call them the Fizz LR sisters or LR Fizz sisters. I'm not really sure what to give an abbreviation for them, but they're, yeah. So, Universe 6 is always a tough kind of unit to be representing into this game because it's a very small pool of units. So generally when we get a unit that's going to lead the team, we kind of like expect something else. You know, we got you know, the AGL Kale, she has Universe 6, and then other categories that kind of represent the whole thing, like rapid growth. Same thing with the new intelligence hit. He actually represents other like categories, rapid growth, and then tournament participants and so forth. So when I tell you that this unit's a little wonky, but very good, I'm trying to be as nice as possible. I do like this unit. I really do like them. I do think you should skip them at the current time of writing anyways. This is 5/14 2025. This is before June or July, August, September of 2025. So this is like the last kind of big unit to be dropping before we get like a worldwide download celebration-esque type of celebration or Tanabata celebration. If you didn't know, those are no longer celebrations that we'll be holding in Dokkan. They'll be named something else. But anyways, I'm getting off topic here. I do like this unit. I think you can use them a couple different ways, but I do feel like if you're not using them on their own team, they're going to feel a little lacking. Like it feels like they could be better. And I do feel like this unit's going to be very, very different compared to having dupes and not having dupes. So, anyways, I've been going off for about 2 minutes. Let's just kind of get into the unit's build. Or by build, I mean the breakdown of the unit. We'll get into the breakdown. We'll get breakdown, defense, build, roll tips. So, this unit is technically 2 different units, so this is going to take a minute to go through the breakdown, so please do use the quick links in the description below, if you so need to. So, as far as 200% leaders go, now you're going to see on the screen, there's going to be several different 200% leaders. Like, I really do feel like this is one of the more modern units that actually has several different teams they can actually go onto. Not necessarily fit onto, but they can definitely be on. So, Super Saiyan 2 Physical Gohan, which is a full power leader, she is on the 220 there. She is on the 220 of the AGL Gogeta, the LR Vegeta Goku exchange unit. She is only 170 on the Vegito, though. Just keep that in mind. I know the website says 200%, but when you go and click on it, it's not 200. She is on 220 for the STR Vegeta. She's on the full 200 for Jiren, for Broly, which is Uncontrollable Power, which she is on Uncontrollable Power. And then she is on the... I believe she's on the 200% for both Kaioken Goku and for Hit. And then she is on the 200% for the Daima Super, I apologize, Ultra Vegeta. And then she still has she has several other teams that she could technically go on as far as 200% go. But really, I think her best is just going to be her own team, Gogeta's team, Hit's team, of course. Those are probably going to be the best ones to be really rolling with. Her leader skill is Universe 6 category Key +4 HP attack and defense of 220. So she is a Universe 6 leader, the best Universe 6 leader, and probably will be for the next 4 or 5 years if the game goes on that long. So I don't like this. I was kind of hoping that if they did decide to do this, that they would do kind of something they did with Jiren and gave her another 200% buff. You know, rapid growth 200% would have been amazing. Even Peppy Gao's, Universal Saga, even another Universal Survival Saga leader I would have taken. But anything other than just Universe 6 really hurts my eyeballs looking at this. Anyways, so let's go ahead and take a look at the super attacks. So the super attack is Ultra Super Attack, Crush Cannon, greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn. Causes mega colossal damage, raises chance of evading enemies' attack by 26% for 3 turns. That's huge, guys. That means that on the 18 key super of Caulifla, on the next appearance after, so turn 1, you 18 key. Now come around to turn 3. Turn 3, we still have that 26% from the previous turn, which means that we have a 52% chance to dodge upon her next 18 key super for the rest of that turn. But you know, pre-super, she'll only have the 26%. So just keep that in mind. Now her 18 key, or her 12 key, excuse me, her 12 key super, the Impulse Rush, raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes colossal damage to the enemy, raises chance of evading enemy's attack, and chance of performing a critical hit by 6%. So this is very interesting. It's kind of different from what we've noticed. We did see, you know, beginning of the year that Gloria was kind of testing the waters for multiple kind of different buffs as far as like super attacks go. As far as the stacking anyways went. We're not stacking necessarily here, but on at least on the 18 key, we do have like, you know, every 3 turns. This is still huge. It means that built in for every attack she does, she's increasing her crit or her crit and her dodge chance, excuse me. So do keep that in mind that her 12 key specifically is raising the critical and dodge chance by 6%. And then the 18 key is raising her dodge chance by 26. So that means on turn 3, if you 18 keyed on turn 1, you could have a 52% chance to dodge. And if you get an additional super, she'll get an additional 6% chance on top of that 52, making it a 58% chance to dodge. Pretty good. That means additionals go very far for her as far as dodge or dying. Now, let's just get into her passive skill. Key plus 6 attack and defense at 200. She launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super. And when receiving an attack for the first time within the turn, she evades the enemy's attack. So what this means is that when she's getting attacked, she supposedly should evade the enemy's attack when receiving for the first time within the turn. Now, I read this as you put her in slot 1, that first attack she's going to dodge automatically. Now, before receiving an attack within the turn, damage reduction rate is also at 20%. So what this means is that she's going to have 20% damage reduction before she receives an attack. Now, after evading an attack, she'll get an attack and defense of 120%, and then launches an additional super attack. So she's basically got a guaranteed additional, but she has to dodge. And damage reduction rate of 40% for 6 turns. So if it is turn 1, you dodge, that means you will have this buff all the way up until turn 6. What that means is on turn 7, you will lose this, and you'll have to dodge again in order to put this onto there. So on turn 7, you will not have this attack and defense of 120%. You will not have the 40% damage reduction, and you will not have an additional super potentially unless you dodge an attack in slot 1. Now, this is kind of wary because at turn 6 or 7, if you still have this unit out, you potentially could get caught very quickly, especially if the second attack coming in is a super attack. Now, for every attack performed, key plus 2 up to 6. So that means after 3 attacks, doesn't matter if it's a super, she'll get 6 key total. Now, attack and defense also goes up to 120%. So that's 40% every time she attacks. So 4, 8, 12. So she needs to perform 3 attacks to be fully built up. Now, when she receives 23 key spheres, I should say if she receives 23 key spheres, she auto dodges. And starting from the 6th turn from the start of battle, meets you can exchange into Kale, basically. Now, immediately when it hits turn 6 from the start of battle, all key spheres on the field will change. Do be aware of this. There are some fights and stages where the boss actually changes your key spheres automatically. And this can really throw the groove off of this Kale and Caulifla. The Vegeta story Jiren fight, specifically when you hit Ribrianne, Ribrianne will auto change your key spheres, and that'll really throw this unit off because it makes them feel weak because this only procs once. So she actually effectively wastes this part of the passive if you go into a fight with that. So be aware of what turn you're on, and try to, you know, maybe force push past Ribrianne or, yeah. Anyways, reversible exchange meets up with Super Saiyan 2 Kale and can perform a reversible exchange starting from the 6th turn from the start of battle. Now, both units actually have an active skill, and they are different. They are both different active skills. You can only activate one of them. So do be aware that you can only activate one of the actives. It's the same thing as the exchange Goku and Vegeta units from 10th anniversary that are Vegeta, Gogeta. You can only activate one of their active skills one time during the fight. But it can be activated starting from that 6th turn from the start of battle. But be it before or after reversible exchange. Now, Caulifla's active is causing ultimate damage to the enemy, and then Universe 6 category allies are getting Ki +1 attack and defense of 16%. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole bunch, but if you double lead, that's an extra, what, 32% attack and defense. You know, that's pretty crazy. That effectively makes her a 236 leader. That's basically what that is. That makes her a 236 leader as far as attack and defense goes. And it does matter. It does actually quite a bit of extra attack and defense when you use both your friend and your own unit to activate this specifically. Now, once we get into Kale, I'll show you what her active skill does. But personally, I don't really see any reason not to activate this if you're running this unit as leader. As leader, I don't see any reason not to do this. I just don't see any reason. Well, I might see a couple of reasons. Anyways. So her links are going to be the same as her Kale and Caulifla, or her Kale part. Link skills are Super Saiyan, Battle Diva, Warriors of Universe 6, Prepare for Battle, Tournament of Power, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. Now, in a normal team, you're only going to see Super Saiyan, Prepare for Battle, and Fierce Battle probably. Maybe occasionally Battle Diva or something. I don't know, maybe. Tournament of Power, yeah, sure. You'll probably see that going off every now and again. Legendary Power, of course. But otherwise, you're never really going to get Universe 6 going off. So just be aware that that's probably the one link that's never going to stay up unless you just are rocking this team, you know, Universe 6 as a full team. You know, it's only Ki +2 attack and defense of 6%, and it probably does stack up quite a bit as you go on, but the same thing with the Tournament of Power, Ki +3 attack and defense of 7%. I will say, when you have all of these going off, you're just sitting at 24 Ki, basically. Now, her categories are actually very diverse. She's got a lot. She could be on a lot of different teams. Her best link partners are, of course, going to be herself, the exchangeable Kale, the LR AGL Kale and Caulifla, and then, of course, AGL Super Saiyan 2 Kale. There's a lot of AGLs in here. Basically, any Kale or Caulifla or Kefla unit will link very well with this unit. Personally, I love the Kefla with this unit. I think this is going to be a very, very good rotation to be rocking, and people are going to find new respect for the STR Kefla. Words are hard. I do plan on revamping a whole new how to build for this STR Kefla, so maybe I'll link, if I remember, I'll link this in the video once I get that up, but I don't know if I'll be able to get that up the same night as this video. And then, of course, we have this Tech Caulifla, which is an auto dodger in certain events and enemies. That could be a very solid, good unit for a slot 1 if you absolutely need to. But otherwise, just be prepared to just have prepared for battle up if you're just taking her on a normal team. Let's go on to Kale. So once you exchange into Kale, her kit will change. It will change just a little bit. In the regards of, you're not going to be going off of dodge so much. You'll be going off of more raw defense and raw damage. I do gotta say that they did very well in making the kits feel like, yes, this makes the unit feel like the characters. So once you actually exchange into Kale, her 18 Ki super is actually going to now massively raise attack for 1 turn, and then you will get 26% chance to crit for 3 turns. So instead of dodge chance at 26%, you'll have a crit chance. So that means that On Kale's first appearance, she'll only have that 26%, but on her next appearance after that, she'll stack both of these as long as she's getting her 18 key super off, effectively giving her a 52% chance to crit. That's pretty good. And her 12 key super attack will greatly raise attack for 1 turn, and then will raise both crit and dodge chance by 6%. So there's no reason, I don't feel like there's any reason to give this unit crit personally. If you do take a look at Caulifla, Caulifla is not meant to be doing damage. Caulifla can do some decent damage, and she gets a little bit of crit along the way, but she's not meant to do damage. Kale, however, you could be hitting up to 40 mil. You could get to 20, 30 mil additional supers. I mean, she's launching loads of damage out. Caulifla is basically just a dodge kind of link battery. She could still do very well, but Caulifla isn't necessarily meant to be doing the damage here. Kale is. Now, she's got a pretty short passive here, but once you exchange into Kale, which you can exchange back and forth if you so wish, attack and defense of 200, she guards, and when attacking for the first time within the turn, she performs a crit. So what this means is that she's not performing criticals. The first attack will be a critical. So her first 18 key super will be a crit. When attacking with 12 or more key, attack plus 100%. When attacking with 24 key or after activating the active skill, you'll get attack plus 200%. So hitting 24 key is actually important. You will see a very dramatic difference in damage here. When receiving attack, defense plus 66% for every key. Now, this has been getting confused a lot, I've noticed on Twitter and other online medias and so forth. But basically, this is counting the key bar. So, you know, you're at key 24, she'll get 24 stacks of 66% for that turn. So basically, just make sure you're maxed out on key. It doesn't mean you have to collect key spheres for this. Now, this is the part where key spheres matter. 6 or more key spheres obtained, launch 2 additional supers. 23 key spheres obtained, launch another 2 additional super attacks. I can see people just abusing the ever-loving crap out of freaking the Dabura cookies. You could legitimately nuke the living crap out of any boss effectively. I can see people abusing the crap out of this with the Dabura cookie, with Gogeta active, with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I mean, there are so many ways to buff this unit, but Kale, she's a nuke. She's a walking nuke. And she literally feels aggressive with the, like, you feel like she's going berserk with this in mind if you hit 23 key. It's just kind of unfortunate that her 12 key super is actually kind of lame. It's not really that impressive if you take a look at the 12 key super, but I imagine they shortened it and didn't want the 12 key super to be like insanely long, so you weren't wading through 6 super attacks, you know. But with that in mind, this means she has 4 built-in additionals. So it's not mandatory that this unit has additionals, but it does help. But basically, initial super, 4 passives, and then the hidden potential, you can get 6 super attacks in a turn. Now, we're back to that active skill thing. So Kale goes berserk is basically exactly what it sounds like. She goes berserk just for the active. She gets key plus 6 and attack plus 40% in battle. So that just stays there. So the trade-off here is that instead of giving the 16% that you would get from Caulifla to all Universe 6 allies, you can just give Kale a huge boost of 40%. Now, this 40% should transfer over to Caulifla if you choose to switch back to Caulifla. I have not tested math numbers or anything to see how hard Caulifla hits at that point, but I don't think it's relative when Kale's defense is good enough with the guard to be tanking a large portion of the game. But anyways. Now, as I said, the links don't change, categories don't change, and link partners don't change. So link partners will be the same no matter what, because they have the same links. They're just going to link with each other. So, whew, that was like 15 minutes of just talking about 2 units. I apologize. So, with all of that being done and finally said, let's move on to defense numbers. All right, we're over here on Twitter/X on Halvard's post. Appreciate you, dude, for doing these calculations. So, for Caulifla specifically, it can be varying on defense numbers. It really just depends. As I said in the breakdown, she's kind of more of a dodge or die kind of unit. But after she evades and she gets, this is excessive, but if she quad supers, she can get close to 1.9 million defense. And with active skill, which is her 16% boost, she can get up to 2 million defense. With 40% support and active, she can get up to 2.4 million defense. Now, this is pretty low, but I do want to dial back to the main page over here of Caulifla and Kale. Caulifla has, I believe, she has 60% damage reduction so long as she's dodged an attack and it's before receiving an attack within the turn. So for literally the first attack she could be getting hit with, she'll have 60% damage reduction. And before that, and even without that 20%, she has 40. And if you have Super Saiyan 4 Goku on rotation, she'll have an additional 10%. So she could have up to 70% damage reduction, depending on what team you're rocking. So, I mean, that's not bad. 60, 70% damage reduction, 40, 50% damage reduction with up to 2.5 million defense. That's not too bad, honestly. That's pretty dang good. Short of, taking like the 5.7 million Jiren or 6 million super attack, I mean, she's pretty much surviving in the most best case scenario. It's very unlikely that you'll be actually getting to these massive amounts of extra additionals. In fact, I would like to dial back here once again and just tell you what your odds are. So you have your first initial super attack, obviously, that's guaranteed. But now you're already getting into a 70% chance. 70% chance, sure, let's just say you got the 70. Let's just go with that. And then after the evading attack, so as long as you got to evade, as long as you weren't, locked into, as long as you can evade, you'll get another additional, so that's triple. But then after that, it's completely reliant on your hidden potential. So my suggestion is assume you're going to get a double, no matter what. Assume you're always going to get a double super with this unit, triple super majority of the time, really bad RNG or not, and then on very good RNG, you're going to quad. I don't think it's going to happen all the time, but that's just because I have poor luck in general. But, she has a very good chance to just triple super almost every single bloody turn. So I would say that your odds of getting at least a double or triple are pretty high. Double super 2 million defense, not bad. I like those numbers. But just keep in mind, if you have 55% unit, then you need to lower these numbers quite a bit. You would have to lower these numbers by at least 200 to 300k. And that's assuming that you're also not having your links leveled. But really, you really do need to knock these numbers down at least 100k plus per dupe loss. So if you have 55%, you need to knock off 400k off of these numbers on average. It's not guaranteed that's how much you're going to lose from dupes, but it's around averaging out on units in general. So assume that if you got a triple super with this unit, you only have 55%. You probably only have around maybe 1.8 million defense in the best case scenario. Full link levels, 40% support with the active skill, triple super. So just keep that in mind. Dupes do matter quite a bit. Let's move on to the defense of the Kale. So Kale's a little bit straightforward. Kale's a little straightforward here. So when receiving an attack when you have 24 key, which is irrelevant pretty much, 3.8 million defense, start a turn. Now, with active skill, this active skill is inquiring of Caulifla using the active skill. You'll get up to 4.4 million. And then if you have a magical 40% support on the team or on the rotation, you can get up to 5 million defense. Now, Kale guards. Guard 5 million defense, you're pretty much solid to be tanking almost all the hardest hitting bosses that in the normal content, like red zones and blue zones. Short of units that are stacking attack up by like hundreds percents and greatly raising above that 6 million marker, I would assume she's going to tank a majority of the time. I think she is relatively safe in slot 1, but once again, if you only got a 55%, knock this numbers down by like 400k, man. You really got to keep in mind of what your dupes are. You got to keep in mind of what your links are, because the numbers will very aggressively if you're not at 100%. So assume probably more like 4 million defense if you're only at 55%. With 40% support, maybe you're at like 4.3, 4.4 million defense. Just keep in mind of those numbers because they're not always going to be the same. So, anyways, now with all that being said, I would love to just kind of move on into the build suggestions. Now, my build suggestions are suggestions. So please, if you don't agree with them, please just tell me what you decided to do. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. Just tell me what you decided to do, because these are just my personal suggestions as a player, and I would love to see what yours are. Now, 55% copy of Kale and Caulifla. I would highly suggest you just go in on the additional. They're a physical unit, so they start off with a level 5 additional here. You can see the white text right here, level 5 additional. Now, if you give them a silver level 5 additional and a level 2 bronze additional, you can get that all the way up to a level 12. A level 12 additional is 22% nope, bad math. Is a 24% chance to additional. Now, when you're talking about additionals, in hidden potential, when you are proccing the chance to additional, it's actually flipping the coin. So let's just say the 24% went off. There's still a 50-50 chance that that additional proc from your hidden potential could either be a normal or it could be a super attack. So doesn't mean that it's a 24% chance to super. No, it's a 24% chance to additional. But anyways, that is still probably the best way to move forward with the 55%, in my personal opinion. At 55%, you're kind of limited to how much you can really improve the unit. At this point, I would try to improve the unit in the best possible way that it can go up. Because, you could give this unit 7 dodge, sure, but that's only a 7% chance to dodge, man. It's not worth it to me. And you could actually give her an attack orb, but I don't feel like an attack orb at this low of dupes is going to make really too much of a difference. I really don't think it would at this low of a dupe percentage. But moving on to the one dupe build. The one dupe build is actually going to be still focusing up on the additionals, as we only have access to one corner. This would be the bottom right hand corner of the hidden potential system. With this, you can give her an extra 9 in total, just from the dupes, into her additional, which on top of her 5 would give her 14 naturally. Now, if you still are just keeping the silver equipment and bronze equipment from when they were 55%, that would increase that 14 to a 21. A 21% chance would be a 42% chance to additional. Now, you'll have one node left over to either give her crit or dodge. I would just give her dodge. Crit doesn't really help this unit too much, as far as a large amount, like seeing a difference. And I feel like with Caulifla, especially before you transform into Kale, she's really kind of just a straight up dodge or die unit. She's not really dodge or die. It's more like she's super dodge or die, but you're going to really want to feel like you want to put this unit into slot 1. And I feel like every bit of dodge might help that. Now, moving on to dupes. 2 dupes or higher. 2 dupes or higher, as you can see at the top right hand corner here. Once you get to the actual having 2 dupes, top left and then bottom right, that is really when the unit opens up. You feel the difference in the unit. You have all these extra nodes opened up for you. I would suggest bumping up the additional to 17. So naturally at 17 without counting the equipment, and then giving a level 9 into dodge. With this, I would suggest using the gold equipment orb to give them just a itty bitty little bit extra amount of dodge. It goes a long way. And then a level 5 additional silver still to keep that all the way from the 55. And then because of the fact of Kale doing so much damage, I would just focus up on choosing what this unit is going to be doing for you. And for me personally, I'm going to always be working toward getting to Kale and just trying to buff up her damage and nuke with her, basically. So I have chosen to give her an attack orb. Now you can definitely go above level 5 if you so wish, or you can go lower. It doesn't matter. Just choose whichever you want. Now, if you don't feel like this is good, like if you feel like, no, I don't feel like she needs additionals, I'll just give her 6 orbs every time. She'll triple super or quad, and then I'll move on. That's fine. You don't have to move on to the additionals. But just remember, this unit doesn't need crit. She's got a 52% chance naturally. She's got an auto crit on her first attack. I don't think she needs crit. She's got plenty of crit coming in, especially on every additional super is getting an extra 6%. So I don't think she needs crit. So if you don't think this unit needs additional and you think they need dodge, then by all means, switch it around. Switch it around. Go ahead and give them 15 dodge instead. Make sure you still give them a gold equip of dodge, level 5, to boost that 15 to a 20, and then put the rest into the additional, which in this case would be a level 11, and then 1 level 5 additional would put level 5 additional silver equipment would boost this up to 16. I still suggest treating this unit as a damage dealing unit. Though I will say, if you're aiming for this build with the dodge, you can change this bronze to whatever the heck you like, whatever you feel like this unit will need. I can tell you, unfortunately, that a defense orb will not help the Kale that much. It's just not going to do much for her. It's really not. It'll help, but it's not going to do that much. So, especially since she doesn't get defense on super. So just keep that in mind, that defense orb isn't going to do much, but an attack orb will. Maybe you feel like giving them 2%, 4% extra additional, or maybe you feel like giving them another 2% dodge chance. That's entirely up to you. My personal choice is going to be the additional build. That's where I'm going to aim for. I'm aiming for this build myself. If I get this many copies of Kale, I'm probably not going to. I'm probably going to skip in general. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the roll tips. Now, roll tips is reworked a little differently here in this video. So you'll see that there's quite a few different things at the top right hand corner here. If you can see that, maybe like go into widescreen mode if you can see it. But Kale and Caulifla have a crap ton of leader potential here. You got AGL Vegeta, you got Daima Vegeta, you got full power Super Saiyan 2 physical Gohan, you have they themselves as their leader, Hit. Those are all very optimal, good leaders. Now, they can go on to Kaioken Goku's team. They can go on to Int Broly's team. They can go on to Jiren's team. They can go on to STR Evolution Blue Vegeta's team. But should you? Optimally? Viably? No. Viably? Sure. Optimally? No. They can go on those teams, but I wouldn't suggest it necessarily. They'll just kind of be there. And as far as their partners go, it's pretty straightforward. STR Kefla, they themselves as a friend partner, and we can feel that this tech Kale and Caulifla is going to get an Easy A very soon. At the time of recording, they have not Easy A'd, but I imagine if they do Easy A, it will be a good Easy A. I hope. And that will be a good partner. And then right down here, just kind of hiding out below tech Kale Caulifla, is the Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku Carnival unit from 10th anniversary. Amazing support unit, giving extra 70% support and 10% damage reduction. Very good partner on the right team. As far as best slot position goes, when you exchange into Kale, you definitely can put her into slot 1. You don't have to, but you know, you can definitely throw her into there. But as long as you're rocking Caulifla, I would probably suggest you just keep her in slot 2. I think early game, early fights, so long as it's early, you can probably throw Caulifla into slot 1 and be perfectly fine. You're technically on a dodge or die kind of scenario, because yes, she dodges the first attack, but if you get really, really, really unlucky and it ends up being a super on the second attack and she doesn't dodge, you're just dead. She doesn't have that much defense. She's not that defensively viable until she exchanges to Kale. So just keep that in mind. You can put her into slot 1, like I said. It just isn't the most amazing thing. It could be kind of an iffy kind of situation for some players. So I did want to touch up on one thing as far as like a best partner goes. So I kind of struggled with this a little bit personally, but I really wanted to put this tech Kefla or Caulifla into the partner position. because she is very good, and I think this could be your slot 1 goddess, or even a floating unit on the Universe 6 team, of course. Like, she's going to be on the team no matter what. But I didn't feel like putting her there just because her real viability is just straight up when she's auto-dodging versus Universal Survival Saga and Pure Saiyans. If you're not fighting a Universal Survival Saga or Pure Saiyans, she's not usable. But she's still a very good partner for her. My other issue with using her as a partner is that you are losing a lot of damage potential here. You only are getting 33% extra attack for linking with this tech Caulifla. That's it. It's only 33%. Whereas if you link up with Caulifla, you're at 48% chance. 48% chance is huge. That's a big difference and increase. And then if you actually link the unit with themselves, like the other LR partner, you're skyrocketing up to a 68%. That's double the damage. There's just better reasons to be, you know, kind of rocking them in between. And if this AGL LR ever gets an Easy 8, they're gonna also be the next best partner. So, but anyways, I'm just going on and on and on. I do like this unit. I like this unit a lot. I do think you should skip, though. I do think you should skip. But if you don't decide to skip and you do summon, please do let me know what you decided to go with. What was the build you chose to go to? Did you focus more on additional? Did you focus up on dodge? Did you not read the card right and thought that you should put in crit? What teams are you using this unit for? I would love to see what teams you're honestly going to use them on. I think I kind of want to rock them on Gogeta's team. I want to see Gogeta active. I want to see the Super Saiyan 4 Goku support going with them. I can see some good potential with this Kale. But yeah, I still suggest you skip, man. We're too close. We're too close to a big celebration. We're too close. Anyways, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you have a good day and a good night.